Thank you, our viewers, and indeed, we are live from Nairobi, Kenya, and we are sorry to use the Janab music batch for the talk show. This is the interview with Kakajuma live from Nairobi, Kenya, and today we will be discussing something related to East African Community Free Trade. And in case we just wish to apologize, in case we have any internet error or any connectivity error, we are using the internet, and whatever technicality has some challenges. So we are live from National Assembly here in Nairobi, and we wish to discuss or to deliberate on some of the issues related to East African Community Free Trade. Keeping in mind that South Sudan and Kenya has gone to what we call free movement, and they have waived what we call the taxes for visa. What does this mean to common mwananchi or to any person who wishes to travel to Kenya or to South Sudan? Keeping in mind that now South Sudan has entered as a 7th member of East African Community, deliberating as the 6th from the DRC Congo. And we are here, or we are glad to be joined by Honorable Makali Mulu, Member of National Assembly from Nairobi, Kenya, and he will be telling us more about what should be done and how will we have to move. Also, Kenyan president is holding a position. Is it that through his position is able to come out and have this conversation out to ensure that he removes the visa? Also, we'll be looking at what we call the currency, common currency. How will the East African community come up with the common currency to ensure that they come up with a solution so that when you go to trade to any market, you're free to do whatever you want to do and go out, giving in mind that once the business barriers are removed or the borders barriers are removed, business will just freely flow. So thank you, Honorable Makali Mulu, for joining us. This is Equatorial TV, and thank you for honoring our invitation. First, I wish you explain to us who is Honorable Makali first, and what are you doing specifically at the positions you're holding here in National Assembly?
Okay, thank you very much, Equatorial TV, for hosting us. Makali Mulu is a member of parliament for Kitui Central, and in the National Assembly of Kenya, I sit in 3 committees. The first one is the House Business Committee. That's the committee which sets the agenda for the House. The second one is the Budgets and Appropriation Committee, the committee which assists the executive to come up with their budgets. The third committee is the Committee on Administration and National Security, the one which oversees the security agencies. Basically, I'm an economist by training, but PhD in economics, and that's why matters regional integration are very dear to my heart, because I believe, and I have said this many times, that regional integration is the way to go. The benefits associated with regional integration are far much many compared to the disadvantages. So, like what you've said, the issue of Southern Sudan and Kenya waiving away the visa requirement, I think is something we need to comment the 2 presidents for. We must commend the president of Southern Sudan and the president of the Republic of Kenya for that important move. The reason is because when you allow free movement of people, that people can move at any time without any restriction, what you do, you also promote business. You promote transfer of labor. You promote transfer of skills. And generally you realize that based on which competitive advantages each country has, then countries are likely to gain from each other. So I see a situation whereby, since Sudan is just South Sudan is a new country, I'm sure in terms of human scale and human resource, Kenyans, we are quite high in terms of human resource. And I see a situation where, because of this East movement, a lot of Kenyans who are skilled professionals will be able to move to Southern Sudan. And as they work in Southern Sudan, they will be able to transfer skills to the locals there. At the same time, they will also to kind of push some of the areas where Southern Sudan would have taken long to learn. They'll be able to facilitate that, to fast track that movement. And as a result of that, you realize that then Southern Sudan will really benefit, because they'll have labor, and not just labor, but skilled labor, which means in terms of productivity, productivity is likely to go high, And as a result of that, the economy will be able to grow. The other good thing is Southern Sudan, most of the land is very rich because I've been there. They are very rich agricultural land. And when we transfer these skills, even technology is likely to be transferred. So at the end of the day, it's obvious that Southern Sudan will be able to really grow faster than they would have done if there was restriction in terms of movement of labor. So to me, I think it was a step to the right direction in terms of allowing free movement of our people, so long as somebody is able to pay a air ticket. They should be able to move to Sudan. And those Sudanese who are also skilled in their own nature can also come to Kenya to do business. Because it means you want to kind of buy something in Kenya so that you take it back to Southern Sudan. Then without a visa requirement, you can just walk in and walk out. And to me, I think this is what we are pushing for all the countries in East Africa community. Because we have said East Africa community has a population of about 200 million. So imagine Southern Sudan accessing a market of about 200 million people, as compared to their own population, which is less than 50 million. So at the end of the day, we are saying, when you integrate, there are very many benefits you're likely to reap from the integration. So thank you very much.
So indeed, we are so much concerned, and we apologize for the talk show that started right now. It is the interview live from Nairobi, Kenya, and we are giving you insight about the East African free market, on what is supposed to be done and how it should be. Now, Mheshimiwa, keeping in mind that President Uhuru hold a certain position in East African community, is the chairman. Is it true that he is the one trying to deliberate these changes, or it is from the East African community at large? Because how can you explain his mileage since he took the position as chairman of East African community?
You know, the chair of East African community is rotational. And anytime a president assumes that position, it's expected that he's going to use his skills, use his experience to make sure that you strengthen and even deepen the I think that's what that is a chair. It is upon him to make sure that the existing ties are strengthened, to make sure that there is much more trade between the countries. Because one of the things you must do is to ensure that there is trade. And for Southern Sudan, what is very important, and what I think the President Uhuru must do, is to ensure that there is peace between the regional, the countries in the region, because peace is critical. And this is something which has not really been very common in Southern Sudan. There's a lot of insecurity as a result of what is happening in the country. And I think for Uhuru, one of the things should be really pushing hard to make sure that we achieve it as a country. And this has even been done over the years, is to ensure that Southern Sudan remains secure. So that you talk to the other regional countries like Rwanda, you talk to Uganda, you talk to Tanzania, to make sure that pulling resources together, then we secure Southern Sudan. And as a result of securing Southern Sudan, I can tell you for sure that the economy will grow, and with a huge potential, which is unexploited in that country. We see Southern Sudan really coming up very fast and joining East Africa and adding value to the integration issues.
Within borders, or they have border conflicts, they end up and have the resolutions, the long-lasting resolution.
The truth of the matter is, if your neighbor is insecure, even you are not secure, because the insecurity from your neighbor can easily just come to your country and you can't control it. So I think it is really a requirement, and it should be the objective of all the presidents in the region to make sure that all the neighboring countries are secure. And that's why I'm saying the whole issue of making Southern Sudan secure, because most of the challenges are internal, where you have these functions which are in the country and they seem to be really antagonizing each other. So for me, I think what should we be doing is all the presidents in the region should have a joint kind of strategy to make sure that diplomacy is used in Sudan and Sudan lives in peace, because when Southern Sudan is in peace, then all the other countries will be in peace. So, as you are saying, this should not even be the role of the chairperson. It should even be the role of the other other states in the union, the East Africa Union. That this East Africa community, all the state countries should be, the member states should be able to work hard to ensure that security is in the region. It is not only in Southern Sudan. You know, we have issues when you listen to what is happening in the region. There is always disquiet between Uganda and at times Rwanda and Burundi. There are also disquiet at times between us, Kenya, and Uganda. In respect of the level, it could be very minimal, but you find there's disquiet. And we are saying this is the time to make sure that the region remains secure. These small issues which are coming up should be discussed within the leadership and agree on the way forward. And where they think they require external support in terms of diplomatic issues, then they can call other friends who are allies to the region to come and sort out the issues so that the region remains secure. By the region remaining secure, I can assure you, we realize very high economic growth, and our people will be able to improve their standards of living. So to me, I think we have all what it takes to gain from this community, and we must guard it by all means. That this community grows from one level to the other in terms of strength, and we deepen that integration to a level that actually I wish we could even have what we call the monetary union, where you use only one currency. But currently we are all now on different currencies. They are disadvantaged because of the exchange rate. You lose money. But you know, there are also a few disadvantages which come with the regional integration. Things like you lose your sovereignty. And I know most countries want to guard their sovereignty. But I look forward to a day when we'll be able to use a shilling, something called East Africa shilling, to conduct business across board. When I go to Tanzania, I don't have to change any money. I just go by. You go to Uganda, so that we have our East Africa community shilling, which will help this country. But we are on that. My happiness is that we are on that track, and with the time, we'll be going towards that direction. Yes.
So indeed, for those guys who are watching us, thank you for watching us. People from Canada, you can send in your messages. Algeria, Nigeria, Somalia, and other parts of the country, plus Juba. This is to, we've just gone to what we call talk show, but this is an interview live from Nairobi, Kenya, and we are at National Assembly. That is Kenya National Assembly. And we are so much glad to be joined by the Honorable Makali Mulu, a member of National Assembly, and also sits in different National Assembly committees. And we are trying to get out to source out some information regarding the East African community and the trade, that is free trade. What is supposed to be done? Now, Mheshimiwa, let's talk about the currency as you've been elaborating. If you look at EU, has a common currency. Then let's talk about the monopolization, whereby a certain country feel it is higher or it will lose it is a currency or the sovereignty or it is power. So what are you going to do to ensure that each member become equally to each other? Because last time when I was doing an interview, the ambassador for South Sudan, that is Mr. Chol Ajong, and Minister for Foreign Affairs, they said there is some process that they will have to follow for them to reach to 1 shilling. What is your take on that?
The thing is, for you to get to a monetary union where you have the same monetary policy, almost the same fiscal policy, and then you have the same currency, normally what would happen is that first of all, you have to build trust. That's why you see, in terms of levels of integration, this comes almost quite high. That you'll have moved from a free trade, you have moved to custom union, you have got to a common market. We are almost where we are now, and then from there you will then move to economic union, which brings those issues. So now monetary union and all that. What I'm saying is that's a journey. It's just not a one-off thing. It's a journey. But why that journey is important is because over time you'll be able to build trust. You'll be able to build trust. You'll be able to know, to see the benefits which will accrue to your country when you're using only one currency. The transfer of services, payment for goods becomes very easy. And I can tell you for sure, countries which are in that state already enjoy huge benefits, because you just order for goods and you pay. You don't have to think about what is the exchange rate. And basically, that's what we are saying. As we approach to the future, it is important we start working towards that direction, so that in either 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years to come, we'll have one currency for East African community. I don't want to say that must happen tomorrow, but over time it must happen if we really want to reap the benefits of this integration as a region.
So, Mheshimiwa, indeed, we are so glad to have you on our set, and thank you for coming out. Now, let's talk about the benefits. For instance, are there some of the policies that have been put in place to ensure that when people are getting to South Sudan, because they might be have been arise some impacts that if Kenyans flowed to South Sudan, they might take everything. Let's say positions, investments. Are there some of the policies that have been put in place to ensure that there are, when somebody gets there, this is what is supposed to be done, and when somebody comes to Kenya, keeping in mind that life in Kenya is very tough, do you think South Sudanese, when they come to Kenya, they will be able to be accommodated where, as well as when Kenyans go to South Sudan? Keep in mind that there is a lot to be done between Kenya and South Sudan and East African community at large.
I have not looked at any document which is specific to Southern Sudan, but I will comment this from a general perspective because this is an area I've really done a bit of research in. What I would say is this: as you are saying, Southern Sudan and Kenya are not the same level in terms of economic development, and you realize Kenya is more endowed with resources than Southern Sudan in terms of human resource, more like living capital. Our GDP is quite huge compared to them, and that's why I'm saying, for us to be fair to Southern Sudan and to avoid a situation where we'll have influx of Kenyans going to Sudan and their people have no, we must have policies which are clear that even as Kenyans come to help us transfer skills, then there must be an element of protecting their own human resource. What am I saying? I'm saying they could agree on a percentage that we allow people from the region to take about 70%, and then that percent becomes the locals. Or we allow 50%, 50%. Or we allow 40%, 60%. And to me, I think these are the kind of negotiations which must be done by our foreign ministries, foreign affairs ministry, so that none of the countries is disadvantaged. But I said, if we were to let South Sudan just do their things on their own without any country coming in, the pace of development would be slower than if they allowed, like what they have done now. Because when other people come and they transfer skills to you, then you have a faster growth because they transfer skills and your people learn faster and be able to do things much more faster because you're not reinventing the wheel. You'll be able to learn from other people and implement immediately. So the advantages always outweigh the disadvantages. And that's what I'm saying. Well, a number of Kenyans might want to transfer their skills to Kenya, to Southern Sudan. It will still be very important to make sure that the Southern Sudan, the Sudanese themselves, we don't displace them, but we come in and work with them as we transfer the skills. Yes.
Indeed, these are the common sentiments from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, plus you, Mheshimiwa Honorable Makali, and the ambassador, are talking about having a certain percentage and putting some policies and mechanisms to ensure that when Kenyans could go to South Sudan, the South Sudanese also get benefited from what they have done or what they will be doing. Now, let's talk about the security-wise now. Like if you look at Rwanda and some other countries, they have taken out some of the rates and taxations to, that's what we call business barriers. They have removed business barriers. What are the Kenya specifically will be doing to ensure that they remove all barriers both to Kenyan citizens and any investors who want to come in? For instance, do they have some policies that normally control the running businesses or doing trade in Kenya? Or what are they planning to have some policy, or do they have policies put in place to ensure that when investors come in, since we are East African community, they get what you call favorable business environment?
I would say that is not happening, but not fully. You know what has happened is, anyway, the Kenyan economy is the biggest economy in the region. And actually, if you look at our budgets, you put together Uganda budget, Tanzania budget, and Rwanda budget together, it is still not what Kenya budget is. So our economy is quite big, and I think it would be really unfair if we were to demand that they just open their borders freely for us in terms of economic trading issues. But you realize that anytime you go to Uganda, there could be a bit of restrictions. Although, as you're aware, Uganda is the biggest now trading partner to Kenya. Actually, Kenya exports to Uganda goods more than any other country exports to. And that's what I'm saying. That's the way to go. That even within East Africa region ourselves, we trade amongst ourselves. But that doesn't mean that we just open the borders freely. There must be some areas where there could be a bit of restrictions. But this, I see a situation where, as we move to the future, when we have built our confidence and we are sure that none of the country will be one to mess the other country, that will open this. Because what is happening is, when you are open your borders freely to other countries, you start getting goods which are cheaper than you produce them locally, because those countries will have developed their technology to a level that they give you the cheapest. So your population benefits out of that. And to me, I think what we should be doing as a region is trying to identify what are our comparative advantages for each country. We look at Kenya, what is our comparative advantage? Which area do we have that advantage? Uganda, which area do we have that advantage? And more than just start now specializing in an area where we have comparative advantage, so that we minimize the cost of production. And once we do that, then other countries can easily buy those goods where we have comparative advantage at a cheaper price, and that's then we buy from those other countries where we don't have comparative advantage. In that case, we will be growing the economies of the region and ensuring that people are getting value for money, and we control prices for goods. So to me, that is the way is not to close your country. The way is to look at areas where you can produce at the cheapest rate and sell to your neighboring countries at the lowest prices.
So, Mheshimiwa, let's talk. You are sitting in the budget committee. Let's talk. What are some of the policies that you're put in place to ensure that you do away with contraband goods, black markets, and cartel in this East African community?
Actually, the contraband issue is not a budget issue. It's more of a security issue. And what is happening? Our Kenya Revenue Authority, working closely with the Ministry of Interior and the Internal Security, have come up with mechanisms of ensuring that we stop contraband goods from coming to Kenya. You know, now we have these scanners where you're able to see what is in the containers even before you open them. Those are some of the things that have been done. The other thing is using intelligence. The DCI is also doing a lot of work to stop issues of contraband goods coming to Kenya. So a lot of efforts been done, but it's not more of a budget issue, it's more of a security issue. And I think that is very important for us to make sure that we grow our own local industries. Because once we allow those goods to come in, because they are substandard, they will flood the market, they will mess our economy. So for us, we must stop them from coming to the country and then grow our own industries so that we're able to supply whatever goods are coming from outside within our region. And to me, the way to go is to make sure that the region does a lot of trade amongst ourselves before we even think about other markets like America, Europe, and all that. Yes.
Indeed, it is an interesting interview there between Kaka Juma and Honorable Makali Mulu. We are live from Nairobi, Kenya, and for those guys who are sending in views from Facebook side or from the other side of Instagram, Twitter handle, thank you so much. And we are not be able to read it all, but we just want to say thank you so much for what you've done and what you're doing. People watching us from Algeria, Nigeria, all the way from India, UK, and US, thank you so much for what you've done. And this is a live interview. We just wish to apologize for talk show that we've just entered in, but it is an interview live from Nairobi where we are deliberating on issues regarding the East African community. So we just want to end or to part our shots with Honorable to give us the last statements so that we know what to do next and how it should be moved and what the East African community and the Africa at large and the world at large to ensure that they also know what has been done and the arrangements. So, Mheshimiwa, what are your last sentiments as we depart our ways so that each and every person know Honorable Makali Mulu? But before we do that, we have this road that President launched recently from, I don't know if it is Kibwezi, heading to Ethiopia. What can you talk about it in terms of expounding Kenya's economy and trade at large?
Okay, the president has not launched the road, but is planning to launch it when COVID-19 positivity rate goes down. But generally, what will happen, that road, when it's open and it connects all the way to Ethiopia, automatically it will make it easier to move goods from Kenya to those other regions. Obviously, to grow the trade in the region. But in terms of regional integration, this is what I want to say. Research, both academic and even empirical research, has confirmed that you gain more by coming together as opposed to when you are on your own. And what I want to urge the people of East Africa, now the citizens of East Africa region, What I want to encourage them is we support our policymakers, we support our leaders so that we grow this integration to the next level. At the end of the day, we will benefit more as a region than when we want to be on our own. I've seen some tendencies from some countries where they want now to start, instead of us moving forward, they want to take us back by starting to say restricting movement of people, restricting movement of goods. This is not the way to go. The way to go is let's encourage each other. Where there are issues, we come together, we talk, we start to think about policies which bring us together, not policies which divide us. Because at the end of the day, each one of us will take advantage of this 200 million plus market, which you can't access if you're on your own. Those are going to be my concluding remarks. So the way to go is let's support our policymakers, support our leadership, so that we achieve this high goal of integrating our region fully. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Indeed, it was an interesting time and a very short time. But with time, we'll get more and more with Honorable Makali Mulu. As we go on, we will be inviting him to our studios and getting more insight about what is happening with the East African community, the Africa at large, and the world. So we are live from Kenya National Assembly building, where we will be bringing you more information about what is going on and all about the National Assemblies and Kenya, East African community, Africa, and the Euro. For those who have sent in the various messages from Facebook and WhatsApp, thank you for what you've done, and thank you for watching us live from Nairobi. Until next time, thank you. We were from Nairobi, Kenya National Assembly buildings. I was your host, Kaka Juma.